Hey guys, Ewok Pilots here, and today we're going to be taking a look at how to upgrade the 2023 Coruscant Guard gunship. Now, of course, we've got all of these interesting play features as a quick little overview, and overall, this gunship is alright, but it's a definite downgrade from what we've had. As you can see, when we open this panel up, usually there's something in there. This year, there's absolutely nothing. It's just completely empty. The panel opens for no reason. And of course, this is supposed to have the double doors, but as you can see right here, LEGO just decided to cheap out and make one big long door. Now the design looks fine, but of course the functionality just really isn't there for the money they're charging for this thing. And of course it has the same feature from 2013 with that really nice carrying handle, and that's really good. It is a little back heavy, but it holds the weight pretty nicely. And it's just an unfortunate result of the design change. Now, of course, we have these awesome looking minifigures right here. Look at this Commander Fox and these really great shock troopers. I'm just kidding. Those figures are terrible. Why don't we get started with the upgrade by changing these out first thing with those brand new minifigures from Grandpa Clone Customs. Let's look right at them. As you can see here, we got a Commander Fox from Grandpa Clone Customs and two shock troopers. Starting with the Commander Fox, you can clearly see that this figure has just got the accurate markings. The white actually appears as white. It's got these awesome arm printing. Got an actual cloth waist cape that covers up the white so that they still didn't have to print all the way on the sides, but it still looks really good. And of course, it's got that really nice Clone Army Customs visor. Now with the Shock Trooper, as you can see, it's got dual molded legs. Well, not really, they're sprayed on, but it is giving a really, really nice effect that looks just like dual molding, and it's still printed on and everything. And of course, the best part is it doesn't have those awful, ugly helmet holes that just make the Clone Trooper helmet look wide and inaccurate to what we see in the movies. So yeah, why don't you stop by Grandpa Clone Customs and pick some of those up. But of course, our main feature, the reason you all clicked on this video in the first place, I'm sure, is these double doors that the gunship really should have just had in the first place. Now, this modification really isn't all that hard to do. A lot of the pieces you need for it are already included in this set, and if not, you really just got to pick up one Technic set. You can see this just gives you easier access into the full interior, and of course, the doors can still close up and fit some figures inside. Now, without further ado, let's just get into this build tutorial and show you guys how you can do this for yourselves. Now to start out, we're going to just need this little assembly right here. It's pretty simple. You're just going to need two 2x2 plates, a 2x4 plate, and then two of these 1x2 bricks with an axle hole in it. It's really not that hard to build. If you need to pause the video to gather the pieces, that's awesome and perfectly fine. And then you're just going to bring your gunship in. You're going to want to remove that whole entire door. You're not going to need it at all. And you're going to want to take that hole and line it up with that hole I'm pointing at right now. You're going to make sure those line up. And then you're just going to take it and you're just going to push it up in there until you feel it connect with a brick. There is a brick in there in the middle. The center is hollow, so you don't need to change anything about that. And you just push it in until you feel a solid connection, and then you're good. And then right after that, you're going to take a Technic axle piece. For the purposes of this video, I will be using a 1x4 axle, a 4-stud long axle. But if you're going to do both doors, you're going to need a 6 long axle. You're just going to put that in the hole until you just have about 1 stud of length remaining out. And then you're going to want to take another one of these 1x2 Technic pieces with an axle hole and just a regular pinhole. And you're going to want to connect that right there facing the back so that the door can have a good amount of motion in there. And that's about it for this step. Moving on, we're going to be working on the first part of the door. As you can see right here, it's a pretty simple build, and you really should just be able to take a look at this and figure it out, but I will go over it a little bit more. You're going to want a 6x6 plate as your backing, and then you're going to want 3 of those 1x2 door rail pieces in dark red. I was able to find a lot of those easily on Bricklink. And you're going to want those windows are going to remain exactly the same. You could even swap that 1x6 out for a tile if you want. And then we're going to move to this upper part. Now right here, you can see I used a bunch of 1x3s up here. If you want to, you can use a 2x6. I just had a lot of 1x3s lying around, so I figured I would use those. And you can also tile it off if you want to make that look a lot nicer. You're going to want these hinges. You can get a lot of those from the new current 501st Battle Pack. And then you can use any 1x2 piece right here. You could use a 1x2 black tile that was rounded. It came in the set. I figured I may as well just use it. But you can use any piece if you want that to look better or something. And then you just cover it all up right there with a 1x4 plate. And then you have that 2x2 plate with pinhole in there. Then you're just going to want to attach this to the door, right, so they line up. And it's a pretty easy connection right there. And then you can go ahead and set that down. We're going to go move on to the next part. This is the final door product right here. And then moving that to the side, we're going to bring these two 1x4 Technic lift arms. They're pretty thin, so you're going to actually need two of them to connect them together. You could get away with one, but it just won't look as nice and won't be as strong. And you're going to want to take these 2-pin axle combos that are about 2 bricks in length. And then you're just going to connect those two pieces together like that, have both of them facing upwards. Then we're going to take our door and we're going to put it into the door first. And then once we have that connected to the door, facing straight, we're going to go ahead and bring in our gunship. And then we're going to connect that to the little Technic lift arm that we just added in the last step. Go ahead and make that connection really there. It should go in pretty easily. And then there we go. We have the first door attached to our gunship. Now this next door is a little bit more complicated, so I won't be showing in depth, but you should be able to get it from what I show you. Now the first major thing you see is changed is that the stripe actually had to be widened right there, that red part. It's 1 brick wider than it was previously, and that's just so that you can have a good break off point for the door. But starting on the back, the first thing you're going to want is this 6x8 plate right here. That is, I used it in white, but you can use any color you want right there. And then you're going to want these pieces right here are just from the original door assembly. So once you have that built, you can just move that over there. And it's basically exactly the same as that door was. Now, the real changes just come to the pattern of these stripes. So you can pause the video whenever you want to go ahead and take a look at that. I'm actually going to remove these tiles for you so you can see it a lot better. As you can see right there, a lot of these pieces are reused from the set. I think 1 or 2 you're going to have to get from your own parts collection. But it's really easy to follow. And then now I'll go ahead and show you how you attach those tiles back to the gunship. As you can see, it's a pretty simple process. The hardest part about designing this redesign was making sure that these window tiles could still attach. The layout of them is changed up a little bit from the original set, with the spacing between the studs, but overall it looks exactly the same as it did. As you can see, I messed up a little bit right there, but pretty easy to follow along. And yeah, that's about how you put those all back. And now we're going to get working on the next part of the door. We're going to get this 2x8 plate right here and just attach that right there. Some back support. And then we're also going to get this 2x2 plate as well. Attach it just above that, just so we can get some support on the back. And that part is done now. Now we're going to move on to this little section. This is a little more complicated as well, but I'll simplify it down. As you can see right here, I used a bunch of little 1x plates all over the place, but you can just use one big 2x12 plate and then a 1x2 there on the end, and that should cover the entire length of it. And then over here on the end, you can see that there's that 2x2 tile right there, and that's holding on a 2x3 wedge. Yeah, just so you can see that right there. And that will remain the same from the set. And then here's the backing of it. I use this 1x6 plate right here. And really, the most important thing is you just want to make sure there's nothing to block the lift arms when they are closing and opening the door. That is the biggest thing, but you also want plenty of support back there. So as long as you match up where these hinges are and where there's 2 1x1 or 2x2 with the pinholes are, you should be fine with the door design. And you can really change this how you want to make it look better. And then you want to go and attach those 2 hinge plates right next to that 2x2 plate that we added on earlier. And as you can see, that makes that weird little gap right there that's supposed to be there, so you can still open the doors the way they're supposed to. And that is how we do that. And then you're going to want to take this little lift arm assembly. This is exactly the same assembly that comes with the set, so there's no changes there. And you're going to want to attach that to that front pinhole right there. And then we've got this door all completed, and now it's time to attach it to our Coruscant Guard gunship. So we'll bring that in right here. And then this Technic pin right here is going to go into that hole right there. And that's already open when you build the set. And then this back pin right here is going to go into that hole right there. And so we're going to start with attaching the front pin. Again, you don't need to modify anything in your set. This hole will just already be open after you built it if you followed the instructions correctly. So you're going to want to attach that in there. It can be a little difficult to push in there, but eventually it'll go, as you can see right there. Now we've got that first part done, and we're going to swing this around the back. I'm going to actually move this to get a better view for you guys so you can actually see what I'm doing. Right here, you're just going to want to lift that up a little bit. You won't bend or break anything. And then attach that pin in right there. As you can see, it's fully attached. You can swing it open with that same L lift arm like you did before and swing it closed. You might want to use a little bit of force to actually push it shut. But those doors are now working. And as you can see, it lines up perfectly. And guys, that is basically how you will modify this to have these two double opening doors, just like you see in the Clone Wars TV series. And just to compare to what LEGO originally gave us, you can see on the other side, I do not have a modified door here yet. And that is just, there's just so much extra space you get with the modified double doors. You really don't get much access there. So I think this is overall a huge improvement to the set, and I think that LEGO should have included it. And for one final comparison, this is the 2008 Republic Gunship. This is the other set with double doors LEGO has made, and that's what that looks like. That's what they look like together. As you can see, the Coruscant Guard one is much smaller. But guys, that's going to do it for this video. Again, I appreciate it you so much for watching. Let me know if this helped you down in the comments below, and if you'd like to see more things like this. And if you enjoyed my content, I would appreciate you subscribing for more custom reviews and set modifications. And I'll see you guys in the next one. Goodbye.